There comes a moment on this journey when you feel nothing. No excitement, no signs, no stirring in your heart. It is still, silent, lifeless. And yet, that is when everything is moving. You have assumed your desire, you have claimed your end, and now you stand in the stillness, wondering if anything is happening at all. But listen closely. This silence is not a void. It is sacred. The world around you may appear unmoved. Your emotions may feel dry, but the universe is not idle. The silence is the sound of invisible things falling into place. You are not creating through emotions. You are creating through states. And once you enter the state of the wish fulfilled, your outer senses become irrelevant. You may not feel happy, you may not feel powerful, you may not feel anything, and yet, if you remain in the state that it is already yours, the law is working for you, regardless of how you feel. Just as the seed in the earth does not scream or shine while growing, your manifestation begins in the unseen, in the deep. There is movement beneath what appears still. This is where most give up. They feel nothing and assume nothing is happening. But I say trust the unseen, trust the stillness. Because the moment you made the assumption, the moment you dared to say it is done, the bridge of incidence was already being built. You may not hear footsteps, but something is walking toward you. You may not see the light, but the sun has already risen. It just hasn't reached your window yet. Do not chase emotion. Chase your state. Let the world around you play its part. It does not need your panic, your worry, or your questions. It needs your knowing. Remain faithful to your end, even when the beginning feels empty. You are not forgotten. You are not off track. You are in the middle of movement, disguised as stillness. So when you feel nothing, trust. Trust that all is moving, and soon you will see what has already begun. When you feel nothing, when your world is still and silent, it may seem like life has paused, like your prayers went unheard, your assumptions unanswered. But this silence is not a void to fear. It is sacred. It is the very evidence that something greater is unfolding beyond what your senses can perceive. It is the moment when the unseen is doing its greatest work. So many give up in the silence. They expect instant results, loud confirmations, and emotional highs to validate their faith. But true creation does not begin in noise. It begins in stillness. The absence of feeling is not the absence of progress. It is the still point from which all things begin to shift. Just as a seed must lie in the darkness of the soil before it ever touches sunlight, so too must your desire move through the unseen before it manifests into form. You are not meant to feel something all the time. You are not required to constantly sense motion to know that the wheels of creation are turning. The stillness you encounter after assuming your desire is done is not proof that nothing is happening. It is proof that everything is happening exactly as it should. This is the resting point of faith. This is where trust is born. The inner world speaks in silence. It speaks in impressions, not noise. The moment you imagined the end, the moment you dared to dwell in the state of your fulfilled desire, the process began. It is not your job to dig up the seed to check if it's growing. It is not your duty to stir the pot just to see if the ingredients are cooking. Your only task is to rest in the knowing, to honor the sacred silence as a sign that your word has been taken seriously. Creation is always subtle before it is obvious. The forces that shape your life do not shout. They do not demand attention. They move quietly, perfectly, with purpose. The silence you feel is a holy confirmation that you have released your intention, and now the unseen world is aligning all things to meet you. Do not interpret the silence as rejection. Interpret it as alignment. Do not measure your progress by how emotional you feel. Measure it by how deeply you can rest in your assumption without wavering. Stillness is not your enemy. It is the sacred womb of transformation. You are not being ignored. You are being prepared. The universe is arranging the perfect sequence of events. The people, places, and moments are all lining up, beyond your vision, but not beyond your belief. So trust it. Sit with the silence. Know that the most powerful movements begin without sound. When you feel nothing, something is happening, and that something is everything. Let it move quietly. Let it unfold divinely. And let your only job be this: to know that it is done. It is a common misconception that you must feel excited, joyful, or emotionally charged to create your reality. That somehow, if you don't feel elated or moved, nothing will shift. But this is not how creation works. It is not fleeting emotions that shape your world. It is the state of consciousness you consistently dwell in. You could feel absolutely nothing emotionally, and yet if you are resting in the right state, life will conform to that inner assumption without fail. Emotions are temporary. They rise and fall like waves. One moment you are uplifted, the next you feel low. They are responses, not creators. But your state of consciousness, that silent, persistent awareness of who you are and what you have, remains even when emotions are absent. And it is this state that creation listens to. It is this inner posture that dictates what shows up in your outer world. You do not manifest from excitement. You manifest from identity. If you have assumed the state of being wealthy or loved or healed, it doesn't matter whether you feel giddy or flat. The assumption itself carries the creative power. When you truly occupy the state of the wish fulfilled, your body may feel nothing, but your life will start to reflect everything. There are days you may feel disconnected or emotionally numb, and you might think, I've lost my alignment. But you haven't. You only lose power when you step out of the state and begin to believe in appearances more than the unseen. Emotional numbness is not resistance. It's simply the mind quieting down. And in that quiet, your assumption still echoes. It still builds. It still attracts. Creation is not an emotional game. It's a state game. The state is the root. The emotions are often just the leaves. Don't chase emotional highs, thinking they will manifest your desire. Chase clarity of assumption. Dwell in the identity that matches your desire, and whether you feel blissful or bored, it will take shape. Think of a thermostat. You set it to a desired temperature, and the system works toward it regardless of how you feel about it. Your state is the thermostat of your life. When it's set, your external world adjusts, even if you feel nothing as it shifts. You don't need to feel fireworks, just faith. So many quit because they don't feel it anymore, but they are looking in the wrong place. Emotions may not always accompany change, but state always precedes it. When you assume a thing is yours, and you no longer obsess over when or how, what you've done is sink into the state. You've become it. And life always outpictures who you are being. So rest, even if you feel numb, even if today feels empty, if you are living in the knowing that it is done, it is being done. The world must yield to the state you occupy. You don't need a feeling, you need a state. And once the state is yours, the world will follow. The greatest turning point in your life begins with a single quiet act, assumption. When you assume your desire is already fulfilled, when you dare to live in the end as if it were real, you set in motion an invisible chain of events. This bridge of incidence, as it unfolds, may look ordinary or unrelated, but it is sacred. It is designed to lead you directly to the manifestation of what you claimed in consciousness. And the most important part, once you assume, you must let go. Letting go does not mean forgetting the desire. It means releasing the need to force it, question it, or doubt it. It is the surrender of effort, not of belief. When you let go, you trust that the assumption has been received. You trust that the process has begun, whether you feel anything or not, whether the outer world reflects it yet or not. Many assume, but then immediately look for proof. They scan their reality for signs, asking, "Where is it? Why isn't it here yet?" But this is not letting go. That is fear disguised as curiosity. True letting go is inner peace. It's the quiet confidence that if you've imagined it with conviction, it's already done in the unseen. You are not the orchestrator of the how. You are the imaginer of the what. The bridge of incidence is not your concern. It is handled by something deeper, something wiser. Your job is to occupy the state of the wish fulfilled and then move through the world as one who already has it. When you assume and then let go, you become magnetic. You stop chasing and start attracting. Life bends around your new identity, delivering people, opportunities, ideas, and changes that you never could have planned. And often these incidents seem unrelated at first, but they are not. They are perfectly placed stepping stones leading you to the inevitable. You must not be fooled by your five senses. They are limited. They cannot see the full picture. If you rely on appearances, you will waver, you will question, you will delay your own unfolding. But if you rest in your assumption and walk through life with calm expectation, the path will form beneath your feet. This is the essence of true manifestation. Assume, then let go. Don't overwater the seed. Don't keep digging it up to check for roots. Trust that your inner world creates the outer. Trust that the law responds not to desperation, but to certainty. There is immense power in quiet conviction. There is a sacred rhythm in letting go after assuming. You no longer need to beg, plead, or strive. You have already claimed it. You have already become it, and life must mirror that back to you, faithfully, consistently, inevitably. So assume it is done, let go, and watch as the bridge of incidence unfolds, not by your force, but by your faith. What you cannot see is often more powerful than what you can. Beneath the surface of your life, beyond the reach of your physical senses, a silent orchestration is taking place. Just because you cannot see movement does not mean there is any. The invisible is always working. Creation begins in the unseen. Like seeds planted beneath the soil, your assumptions, imaginations, and inner beliefs lie beneath the surface, hidden but not inactive. The soil may look undisturbed, days may pass with no visible change, but beneath that quiet exterior something extraordinary is happening. Life is moving, growth is taking place. The seed is pushing, forming roots, drawing nutrients and preparing to break through. So it is with your manifestations. Many people get discouraged when nothing seems to change on the outside. They believe their desire has been ignored, forgotten, or lost. But that belief comes from judging by appearances. It comes from misunderstanding the nature of reality. The invisible is the root. The visible is the fruit. All that appears began first in what is unseen. When you dwell in the state of the wish fulfilled, your desire is planted. It is placed in the fertile soil of consciousness, and from that moment forward it begins to grow. It may not show up instantly in the outer world, but that does not mean nothing is happening. The invisible world is not delayed. It is precise. It knows exactly when and how to deliver. The problem is, most people dig up the seed too early. They look at the surface and say, there's nothing there, and abandon their assumption. They declare it dead when it was just beginning. The invisible does not cater to your impatience. It answers your faith. The moment you trust that something is unfolding, you align with the very force that brings it forward. Think of how nature works. You do not plant a seed and then panic the next day when you don't see a sprout. You trust the process. You water it, you give it light, you believe in what's happening beneath the soil. Manifestation is no different. What you claim within begins to move in silence. What you accept as true in the unseen. So don't rush the process. Don't be fooled by the stillness. That quiet moment where nothing looks different is often when everything is changing. Your job is not to make it happen. It is to remain faithful to the seed you planted. Keep walking in the assumption that it is done. Keep living in the end, even when the beginning seems unchanged. The invisible is working. It always is. It is rearranging, unfolding, aligning. Trust it. Honor it. Speak as if your desire has already arrived, because in truth it has. It just hasn't reached the surface yet. Just like the seed, your manifestation is alive, still hidden, still moving, still destined to bloom. There are moments when silence feels heavy, when time stretches out and nothing in your outer world seems to change. In those moments, it's easy to believe you've been forgotten, that your prayer, your assumption, your deep inner longing has been ignored or lost in the vastness of life. But you have not been forgotten, not by the universe, not by the unseen power that governs all creation. What you have claimed in consciousness has been heard, and it is already in motion. The truth is simple and unwavering. The law never forgets. The moment you assumed your desire to be true, the process of fulfillment began. It may not be immediate to your senses, and it may not come with thunder or signs, but it is working, quietly, precisely, faithfully. Your job was never to force the manifestation into existence. Your only task was to assume its reality, to embody the end, and to rest in the knowledge that what is claimed within must be expressed without. But when the days grow long, and no visible movement appears, doubt creeps in. You begin to question whether you were heard, whether you did it right, whether the universe even noticed your desire at all. But the creative law is perfect. It does not operate on chance, emotion, or noise. It responds only to your inner state. And once a thing is claimed in consciousness, fully, clearly, and without contradiction, it cannot go unanswered. It is impossible for it to be forgotten. Think of a letter placed into the post. Once it's sent, it begins its journey. You do not stand at the mailbox and scream, "Why hasn't it arrived yet?" You know it's in transit. You trust the system. And so it is with your assumption. Once made, it is moving. The bridge of incidence begins to form. People begin to shift. Circumstances bend. Time rearranges itself to meet your inner vision. Do not confuse delay with denial. The universe does not rush, but it never fails. Sometimes what feels like silence is actually protection, preparation, or precise alignment. Sometimes what looks like a pause is the calm before perfect timing. But make no mistake, nothing you have imagined with belief is lost. You are not forgotten. You are not invisible to the creative power. The law remembers every word spoken in belief, every assumption held in faith, every vision that you dare to call real. It is recorded in the silence of your consciousness, and it unfolds at the appointed hour. So rest. Even when you feel nothing, Even when the world seems unchanged, rest in the knowing that what you claimed is already yours, and the universe has not overlooked it. Keep walking in your assumed end, knowing that it is remembered, honored, and being made manifest perfectly. You were heard, you were seen, you were answered, you were not forgotten. Persistence in the face of silence is one of the highest expressions of faith. When the world offers no proof, when no doors seem to open, and when your senses report nothing but stillness, most people retreat. They abandon the vision, thinking it was all for nothing. But this is where the true creator is separated from the dreamer. The key is persistence, holding firm to your assumption even when there is no visible evidence to support it. It is easy to believe when everything aligns, when signs appear, and when results come quickly. But that kind of belief requires no strength. True manifestation lies in your ability to persist in the unseen, to keep imagining, feeling, and knowing that it is done, even when all signs suggest otherwise. This unwavering inner vision is what bends reality. The outer world may delay in reflecting your desire, but the law is already working on your behalf the moment you claimed it in consciousness. The universe does not need external proof to respond to your inner world. It is not activated by emotion or time, it is activated by identity. When you assume a thing is yours, when you feel it to be true and persist in that assumption without letting go, you lock yourself into the state that brings it forth. And the longer you remain faithful to that inner vision, the faster the outer world must comply. The challenge is always the same. Will you persist when nothing seems to be happening? Will you hold your ground when doubt whispers, when people question, and when time stretches on? If you can, you will see miracles. Because the unseen does not respond to your anxiety or your timelines, it responds to the sustained state of being, the inner atmosphere you live in day after day. Creation is not about getting what you want through force or desperation. It is about being what you want in consciousness, and remaining in that state long enough for the outer world to mirror it. The invisible realm is highly sensitive to persistence. Every time you return to the end, every time you ignore appearances and choose to believe it is done, you strengthen the blueprint of your reality. Many quit just before the shift. They abandon their assumption because they mistake silence for failure. But silence is often a sign that the foundation is settling, that something is stabilizing in the unseen. Your persistence is the bridge that carries you from the invisible to the visible. Do not be fooled by what your eyes see. Do not let temporary delays shake your inner conviction. Stay, persist, keep imagining the outcome you desire. Walk in it, feel it, speak from it, live in it. It's because the unseen is always listening. It responds to the one who refuses to let go of the vision, and when you persist without needing evidence, you declare to the universe, "This is who I am, this is what is mine," and the universe must respond in kind. So now you understand, your emotions are not the source of creation, your state is. When you feel nothing, it does not mean that nothing is happening. In fact, it often means that everything is falling perfectly into place. The silence you feel is not the absence of progress, it is the sacred pause where the unseen goes to work. It is in that quiet space that your assumption is honored, your desire is nurtured, and the bridge of incidence is built. You don't need to chase signs or force feelings, you only need to remain faithful to the end you've imagined. You must trust that once the assumption is made, the universe remembers, even when you don't feel it. All is moving, all is responding, all is aligning. So relax, stay still within. Walk with the quiet knowing that what you claimed in consciousness is already yours. No matter how ordinary the world looks, understand this truth: the unseen never forgets. And if you persist in your inner vision, Your outer reality must catch up. Thank you, message. Thank you for watching and allowing these words to remind you of your inner power. If this message resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Stay in your vision, keep trusting, and remember, even in the silence, you are being heard. Look closely, for this message is not meant for just anyone. It is reserved for those who are destined to win, for those whose hearts and minds already hold the seed of victory, though it may still be unseen by the world around them. Victory is not a distant prize you must struggle to grasp. It is not something outside, waiting in the future to be earned. No, your victory exists now, fully formed within the sacred chambers of your imagination. It waits patiently for you to acknowledge it, to live from it, and to embrace it as your present reality. When you watch this video, you have already taken the first step, not by doing, but by imagining, by feeling, by knowing deep within that you are the one who will win. This knowing is your secret weapon, your invisible force that shapes every circumstance, every encounter, every moment to reflect back your inner conviction. Understand this: the future is not something that happens to you. It is something you create with every thought you nurture, every feeling you embody, and every assumption you hold as truth. The world around you is merely a mirror, reflecting what you hold in your heart and mind. So I urge you now, do not wait for the world to give you permission to win. Do not wait for circumstances to be perfect or for external proof. Instead, live as the winner you are becoming. Speak as the champion you already are. Feel the triumph in your chest, as if the prize is already in your hands. By doing this, you step through the invisible doorway from dreaming into being. You align yourself with the power that brings all things into form. Obstacles lose their hold, doubts fade into the background, and what once seemed impossible becomes your daily experience. This message is for the future winners, the ones who will not settle for less, who know that their imagination is the blueprint of their destiny. If you see this video, it means you are ready to claim the victory that is yours by right. Remember this always: your success is not something you chase after. It is already yours. All you must do is claim it, live it, and embody it now. Only future winners will see this video. And if you are seeing it, then your victory is already beginning. Your future victory is not something distant or external, waiting out there somewhere for you to catch it. It is not a prize hidden beyond a horizon, reserved for a future time when you've earned it through struggle or hard work. Instead, your victory already exists, alive and vibrant within the realm of your imagination. The moment you fully grasp this truth, your entire approach to life shifts. You begin to understand that what you imagine, what you assume, and live from within your mind is the very essence of what will soon unfold in your outer world. Imagination is not merely a playground for fantasies or idle thoughts. It is the creative power that shapes the very fabric of your reality. Everything you see around you, the successes, the relationships, the opportunities, was first conceived in someone's mind. Before it ever became physical, it lived as an idea, a feeling, a belief. Your imagination is no less powerful. It is the sacred space where your future self already dwells, complete and victorious, waiting for you to recognize it and make it real. When you live as if your victory is already accomplished, you step into a new state of being. This is not about pretending or forcing yourself to feel something false. It is about aligning your inner world with the reality you desire. What you assume to be true, you will manifest. The mind does not distinguish between what is real and what is imagined when it comes to feeling and belief. It responds to the images and assumptions you hold with the same intensity as it does to physical facts. That is why so many people live small lives. They unknowingly assume limitations, failures, and lack as their reality. And so that is exactly what they experience. But you have the power to change that. By consciously choosing the assumption of your victory, by consistently living in the feeling of your success, you set a new course for your life. You begin to see opportunities where others see obstacles. You develop confidence where before there was doubt. Your actions become inspired and natural, flowing effortlessly from the identity you have embraced, that of a winner. This is not a vague hope or wish. It is a certainty that comes from knowing that all things are born in the imagination first. The outer world is the effect. The inner world is the cause. When you change your inner assumptions, the outer reality has no choice but to follow. It rearranges itself to match your inner state. So stop chasing your future victory out there beyond reach. Instead, go inward and cultivate the feeling that your victory is already yours. See yourself living the life you want. Hear the sounds, feel the emotions, taste the success. Dwell there in your imagination until it becomes a living reality inside you. When you do this, you are planting the seed that will grow into your actual experience. Your imagination is the blueprint for your destiny. What you assume and live from within will manifest as the truth you experience. This is the law that governs all creation. Trust it, live it, and watch as your future victory unfolds naturally, effortlessly, and gloriously before you. The moment you truly accept your success as an existing fact, something remarkable begins to happen within you and around you. This acceptance is not a wishful hope or a distant goal. It is a deep inner knowing that your success is already yours, fully complete and perfect in the unseen realm of your consciousness. When you make this acceptance, your entire world starts to shift and rearrange itself in ways that support and confirm this truth. The universe, in response to your belief, begins to align circumstances, people, and events that reflect the reality you have embraced. Your belief is not a passive thought, it is a living force, an energy that shapes your destiny. What you hold as true inside is what your life will inevitably mirror. This is the fundamental principle by which creation unfolds. The inner state is always the cause, and the outer experience is the effect. When you accept your success as a present reality, your mind and heart synchronize with that truth, and your actions, decisions, and perceptions change accordingly. You begin to notice opportunities that you once overlooked. You find solutions where before there were only problems. And you naturally move toward experiences that confirm your victorious assumption. This acceptance creates a powerful ripple effect. Your mental and emotional landscape is no longer divided or uncertain. It becomes whole and focused. Your thoughts no longer entertain doubt or fear, but instead are grounded in confidence and assurance. Because your inner world is aligned with success, your external world must follow suit. This is not magic or chance. It is the natural law of cause and effect working through your conscious awareness. Imagine how different your day-to-day life becomes when you hold success as your undeniable reality. You walk with a new posture, your speech changes, your demeanor carries a quiet power. People respond to you differently because you are vibrating at a frequency of confidence and achievement. Doors that were once closed begin to open effortlessly. Synchronicities happen that push you closer to your goals. You feel a sense of flow and ease in your actions because you are no longer fighting against the current of doubt. Instead, you are moving with the current of certainty. It is important to understand that accepting success as an existing fact is not about ignoring challenges or pretending everything is perfect. It is about recognizing that your true state is already victorious and that the external world will catch up in its own time. By living from this place of assuredness, You become a magnet for all the resources, people, and ideas necessary to bring your success fully into form. This shift in belief is like planting a seed deep within your mind. That seed grows steadily, nurtured by your unwavering conviction and the vivid images you hold of your success. Each moment you reinforce this belief. You water that seed with faith and emotion, causing it to sprout and blossom into tangible reality. So make the decision now to accept your success as already yours. Feel it, know it, embody it. Let your entire being be aligned with this truth. As you do, watch how your world begins to rearrange itself effortlessly, bending and shaping to prove the truth of your belief. Your destiny is not written in stone. It is shaped by the beliefs you hold and the faith you nurture. When you believe deeply in your success, your entire universe conspires to make it manifest. Too often, we look outward for signs that our dreams are coming true. We search for proof in the external world, a phone call, a message, a change in circumstance, hoping these signals will confirm that success is on its way. But this outward search is a mistake. The real power lies not in waiting for external signs, but in creating the sign within yourself. The true confirmation of your victory is the feeling and belief you cultivate inside, long before anything shows up outside. Your inner world is the fertile ground where your future is born. It is where the seed of your success takes root and grows. When you depend solely on external signs, you give your power away to things beyond your control. You become a spectator, waiting for the universe to prove that your desires are real. This keeps you trapped in uncertainty, doubt, and frustration. Instead, turn your attention inward. Become the source of your own validation. Feel the reality of your win now. Immerse yourself in the sensation of having already achieved what you desire. Imagine the joy, the relief, the pride, whatever emotions you expect to experience when your victory manifests, and live those emotions fully in your present moment. By doing this, you are not pretending or deluding yourself. You are aligning your consciousness with the reality you want to create. This inner alignment acts as a signal to the universe, setting into motion the unseen forces that bring your desires into physical form. Your feelings are the language of your subconscious mind, and when you consistently speak the language of success and fulfillment, your subconscious begins to act as if it is already true. It draws circumstances, people, and opportunities to you that match your inner conviction. This internal creation is the essence of true manifestation. Before anything appears outside, it must first exist inside. This means the proof is not found in the outer world. It is found in your inner experience. When you feel the certainty of your success now, you no longer depend on external validation to keep your faith alive. You become a living sign of your own victory. Think of it like this. A seed planted in the earth is invisible at first. You don't see the sprout immediately, but beneath the surface, life is growing. The warmth of the sun and the moisture in the soil nurture the seed silently and invisibly. Similarly, the feeling of your success nurtures your desire within you, unseen by others but very real to you. If you constantly check the soil looking for a sprout, you risk disturbing the growth process. Instead, trust the inner process and continue to feel the reality of your win. This practice transforms your entire experience of waiting. Instead of anxiety and impatience, you cultivate peace and assurance. Your mind becomes a calm harbor where your victory is welcomed daily, regardless of what your outer circumstances might show. So, do not look for signs outside. Create the sign inside. Let your heart and mind be the first to celebrate your success. Feel the reality of your win now, long before it manifests physically. In doing so, you become the living proof of your own triumph, and the world will follow suit. The present moment is the doorway to your future. It is the sacred gateway through which your dreams, desires, and victories must pass to become real. It is not somewhere far away in time or space, but right here, right now, that you hold the key to shaping everything that is to come. How you live, think, and feel in this very instant creates the foundation upon which your future is built. To unlock the future you desire, you must first step fully into the present and live as if you have already arrived. Living as the person who has already won means embodying the essence of your success in this moment. It means seeing yourself through the eyes of your future self, confident, fulfilled, and victorious. You carry that person's posture, attitude, and emotions now, even before the external proof appears. This is not about pretending or wishful thinking. It is about claiming your power to influence reality by first establishing it within. When you do this, your entire being aligns with the vibration of your desired outcome, and the present moment transforms into a powerful doorway through which your future walks in. Speaking as if the prize is already yours is a powerful declaration of faith and certainty. Your words carry weight and energy. They shape your mindset and the way you engage with the world. When you affirm your victory verbally, you are reinforcing your inner belief system and communicating to your subconscious mind that your success is no longer a question but a fact. This shift in language rewires your thinking, replacing doubt and hesitation with confidence and determination. As a result, your actions naturally reflect this new reality. You begin to make choices and take steps that a winner would take, setting off a chain reaction of events that leads to the fulfillment of your desires. When you live and speak from this place of assuredness, you will notice a remarkable phenomenon. The world begins to conform to your vision. Circumstances that once seemed impossible shift in your favor. Opportunities you never expected show up. Doors open, and people respond to you in ways that support your success. This is not coincidence or luck. It is the natural response of life to the frequency you emit. The universe is not separate from you. It is a mirror reflecting your inner state. When you embody the essence of a winner in the present moment, the universe matches your vibration by bringing you experiences that confirm your new identity. This concept is a profound reminder that your future is not some distant destination to be reached someday. It is a reality that begins now, within you. The doorway to your future is not a physical door you must find or unlock, but a mental and emotional state you must enter. You have the power to choose who you are in this moment and how you respond to your circumstances. By choosing to live as the winner you are becoming, you step through that invisible doorway and allow your future to manifest naturally. So, embrace the present moment fully. Walk, talk, and think as the person who has already claimed the prize. Trust that by doing so, you are setting into motion the forces that will bring your dreams into form. The doorway to your future is open now. Step through it with confidence and watch how the world conforms to the vision you hold within. Your imagination is more than just a place where fleeting thoughts and daydreams arise. It is a sacred space, a hidden sanctuary within your mind where your future self already dwells. This is the realm where your dreams take shape and your victories are born long before they appear in the physical world. It is the invisible workshop where all creation begins, and it holds the key to unlocking the life you desire. To truly manifest your success, you must learn to visit this sacred space daily and dwell there in the feeling of your accomplishment. When you do, your imagined success transforms into your present reality. Imagine your imagination as a vast inner temple, a private retreat reserved exclusively for your highest aspirations and deepest desires. It is here that your future self exists, not as some distant, unreachable figure, but as a living, breathing presence that you can connect with whenever you choose. This future self knows no limits and carries the full experience of your victory. By consciously entering this mental space, You step out of the confines of your current circumstances and into the boundless realm of possibility. The key to this practice is feeling. It is not enough to simply picture your success as a vague image or an abstract idea. You must feel it deeply. Feel the joy, the pride, the peace, and the confidence that come with having already won. This feeling is the bridge between your imagination and your reality. The more vividly and consistently you dwell in this emotional state, the more real it becomes to your subconscious mind. Your subconscious does not distinguish between actual experiences and those you vividly imagine with feeling. To it, the imagined success you feel is just as tangible as any physical event. By visiting this sacred space daily, you reinforce your connection to your future self. This regular practice nurtures the seed of success planted within your subconscious and allows it to grow steadily, unnoticed by your conscious mind. Each time you immerse yourself in the feeling of your achievement, you are strengthening the blueprint of your desired reality. Your mind begins to rearrange itself around this new identity, and your outer world inevitably follows. Living in alignment with your future self also shifts your entire perspective. You begin to see your present challenges not as barriers, but as temporary experiences that will dissolve as you continue to nurture your vision. Your confidence grows, and your actions become more purposeful and inspired because they are guided by the feeling of already having succeeded. This inner state becomes the foundation for every decision you make, shaping your life in a powerful, deliberate way. Remember that your imagination is a sacred tool given to you to create and shape your destiny. When you treat it with reverence and use it consciously, it becomes a direct pathway to your dreams. The future you desire is not a distant possibility, but a living presence waiting for your acknowledgement within this inner sanctuary. Visit it daily. Embrace the feelings of your success with full awareness, and watch as your imagination's vision steps through the veil of time to become your present reality. Obstacles are often seen as the harsh reality standing between you and your dreams. They appear as walls too high to climb, storms too fierce to weather, or dead ends that block your path. Yet if you look deeper, you will see that these obstacles are illusions, shadows cast by the mind's fears and doubts. They exist only because you give them power. They have no real substance apart from the meaning you assign to them. The moment you recognize this truth, you begin to see beyond the surface and understand that your inner conviction is the only force capable of transcending these illusions. Your inner conviction is a powerful, unwavering belief in your own victory and worthiness. It is the fire within that refuses to be extinguished by external challenges or internal hesitations. When your conviction is strong, obstacles lose their grip on you. They become mere tests, opportunities to reaffirm your commitment to yourself and your vision. The stronger your conviction, the more clearly you see that these so-called limits are not barriers, but invitations to rise above. The limits that bind you are not fixed laws of nature, they are agreements you have made, often unconsciously, with fear, doubt, or past experiences. You have accepted certain boundaries about what is possible or impossible, and these boundaries have shaped your reality. But what if you could break those agreements? What if you could reject the false restrictions and declare a new reality where you are free and victorious? Claiming your victory now is the key to breaking free from these self-imposed chains. Victory is not something to be won in the distant future. It is a state of mind to be claimed in the present moment. When you claim your victory now, you refuse to let the illusions of obstacles define your path. You declare that no external circumstance or internal doubt has the power to determine your worth or your outcome. This declaration shifts your entire being. It rewires your mind to focus on solutions, resilience, and growth, rather than problems and defeat. As you claim your victory, you begin to see opportunities where before you saw only problems. Your perspective changes, and with it your experience of the world transforms. You move forward with courage and clarity, no longer held back by the imagined limits that once confined you. You realize that the real battle was never with the obstacles themselves, but with your belief in them. This shift does not mean you will never face challenges. Life will always present tests and trials. But now, these challenges become stepping stones rather than stumbling blocks. Your inner conviction empowers you to transcend the illusions and continue toward your true destiny. You learn to trust in your ability to overcome, adapt, and thrive regardless of what appears outside. The power to break free is always within you. It has been waiting patiently beneath layers of doubt and fear, ready to be awakened by your choice to claim victory. When you do, you step into your true power and align with the limitless nature of your being. You no longer accept limits that do not serve you. Instead, you create a new reality where your dreams are not only possible, but inevitable. So look at your obstacles closely. See them for what they are, illusions born from fear and doubt. Do not give them more power than they deserve. Instead, cultivate an unshakable conviction in your victory. Claim it now with all the certainty and faith you can muster. By doing so, you break the chains of limitation and open the door to the boundless freedom and success that is your true inheritance. In conclusion, remember this: your victory is not something waiting in the distant future. It already exists within you. The obstacles you face are illusions shaped by doubt, and the limits that bind you are only those you accept. By stepping fully into the present moment, living and feeling as the winner you already are, you unlock the sacred power of your imagination and inner conviction. When you claim your success now, your world rearranges itself to reflect the truth of your belief. You hold the key to your destiny in your hands. Use it wisely and boldly. Thank you for taking the time to listen and for allowing this message to resonate within you. I encourage you to visit your inner sanctuary daily, nurture the feeling of your success, and watch how your reality begins to transform. Your future is bright, and it is already yours. Stay strong, keep believing, and never stop claiming your victory. Thank you. There is a truth so simple, so immediate, so direct, that once you grasp it, you'll never strive again. The truth is this: your imagination, coupled with deep feeling, is the force that shapes all things. You don't need to earn it, wait for it, or hope for it. The moment you accept it as real within, life responds without. It feels like magic, but it isn't. It is law, a law that operates with precision, whether you acknowledge it or not. When you finally awaken to the fact that imagining something and feeling it as real is the act of creation, you stop trying to fix the outside. You begin to select your inner state like a sculptor chooses stone. And you chisel your world through consciousness. You ask, why does it work so fast? Because time is not your master, it is your servant. Reality does not operate on a clock, it operates on belief. When you fully assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, with no effort to force it into being, the change begins immediately. The world around you reconfigures, people shift, circumstances alter, and what you once hoped for is now in your hands. You don't have to see it to believe it, you have to believe it to see it. Very great transformation comes quietly, invisibly within. The outer event is just the echo, the applause. The applause only comes after the performance, and the performance happens in your mind. You create in silence, in stillness, in the secret chambers of self. Let this be your practice. Assume the end, dwell in the wish fulfilled, and do it with joy, not desperation. The more natural it feels, the faster it moves. The more you trust it, the more effortlessly it appears. The moment you stop watching the clock, the moment you forget how long, the universe rushes to deliver it now. It feels like magic because it bypasses logic. It doesn't ask for credentials, hard work, or permission. It only asks for faith in your inner vision, in the unseen yet deeply felt. This is not a method, it is a return, a remembering. You have always held the power. Now you remember how to use it. So stop asking when and start living as if. Don't speak about it, be about it. Walk, breathe, think, and move as one who already has it. And reality will race to catch up with the new you. It will feel like a miracle, but it's simply the law obeying your conviction. Imagination is the only creative power. What you feel as real now will solidify in your world. This is not just poetic language, it is the secret behind every transformation, every success, and every so-called miracle. The world you see outside is not fixed, not final, and certainly not separate from you. It is a mirror, a living reflection of your inner assumptions, beliefs, and most importantly, your felt imagination. To imagine something clearly and to feel it deeply as though it were already true is to give it life. It is to plant the seed in the fertile ground of consciousness. That seed, once nourished by emotion and faith, must grow. It does not require external conditions or visible means. It does not ask for approval from logic or the permission of the world. All it needs is your conviction. The moment you feel the reality of your desire, it begins to take form. You don't wait for the outer to change first. You don't negotiate with reality, you command it. Not with force, but with inner acceptance. You do not beg for what you desire, you become it. And once you become it within, the outer world has no choice but to comply. Think of the world not as something you react to, but as something you create from within. Your imagination is not daydreaming, it is crafting. It is building form in a realm beyond sight. And when your emotional state aligns with that inner image, you summon it into your experience. Most people imagine unconsciously. They imagine what they fear, what they lack, what they don't want. And then they wonder why those very things show up in their lives. But the law is impartial. It brings forth whatever you accept as true, whether it is good or bad. You do not manifest what you want. You manifest what you are. And what you are is determined by what you imagine and feel to be true. So begin now. Choose a new reality. Not someday, not when things get better, but now. Imagine it in full color. Hear the sounds, feel the textures, embody the outcome. Don't just look at the image, enter it. Feel the joy, the peace, the relief of already being there. The world responds not to words but to feelings, and when the feeling becomes your dwelling place, the external world must reshape itself around your inner world. This is not fantasy. This is the law, and it is the only law that truly matters. You were never meant to struggle through effort and force. You were meant to align with the power within you and let it unfold everything for you. Imagination is not a lesser faculty. It is the source of all creation. What you imagine and feel as real becomes the blueprint for your future. It moves people, events, and opportunities into your path in ways your logical mind could never orchestrate. So trust it, nourish it, live in it. And soon what was once only imagined will be the life you wake up in. Not by accident, not by luck, but by law, the law of consciousness, the law of assumption, the law of creation itself. Speed comes when belief is pure. No doubt, no effort, just inner knowing. The moment your belief becomes unshakable, when there is no longer a conflict between what you desire and what you accept as possible, manifestation becomes swift. It flows into your life not as a reward for hard work, but as a reflection of your certainty. Things begin to unfold rapidly, not because the world outside has changed, but because your inner conviction has reached a state of clarity and alignment. Doubt delays. It scatters energy. Every time you imagine your desire and then question it, wondering how, when, or if, you slow down the unfolding, you confuse the signal you send out. The universe, being perfectly obedient to your inner state, must reflect that mixed energy. But when belief is pure, when your assumption is clean and you no longer need to look over your shoulder to check if it's working, everything begins to move at a speed that feels miraculous. There is a hidden power in calm knowing, not the frantic faith that tries to force results, but the silent, sacred assurance that what you have imagined is already yours. It doesn't feel like effort. It doesn't even feel like hope. It feels like truth. You walk differently. You speak with calm. You rest in a kind of spiritual confidence that bypasses logic. And it is that knowing, quiet yet immovable, that quickens the bridge of incidence leading to your manifestation. This effort often comes from fear, from the belief that if you don't act, push, or fight, nothing will happen. But true creation does not respond to panic. It responds to presence. When belief is pure, you no longer chase. You no longer need proof. You live from the end, and the end feels so real, so already done, that your outer world simply obeys. Inner knowing is not just belief, it's embodiment. It means you no longer need signs to convince you, because you are the sign. You become the living evidence of what is to come. People sense it. Circumstances begin to conform to your new vibration, and what once felt far off becomes inevitable. You do not have to convince the world, you only have to convince yourself. And that conviction comes not through repetition or effort, but through quiet surrender to the reality within. You surrender not in weakness but in confidence, because you know that creation is finished. The version of you who already has what you want exists now, and you are simply merging with it through belief. So the next time you ask why something hasn't shown up yet, don't look outward. Look inward. Is there doubt? Is there hesitation? Is there effort trying to substitute for faith? If so, pause. Return to stillness. Feel it real again. Strip away the noise until only knowing remains. And when you reach that inner simplicity, when you feel the certainty without needing anything from the outer world to validate it, that's when it happens, fast, effortlessly, almost too perfectly to explain. It feels like magic, but it is simply the speed of belief in its purest form. You don't chase, you assume. It's already yours, and reality rushes to reflect it. The moment you drop the need to pursue what you desire and instead assume it is already done, you step into the true power of creation. Chasing implies lack. It says, I don't have it yet, and what you affirm through your emotional state is exactly what you receive. But assumption is different. Assumption is quiet confidence. It's the inner decision that what you desire is already a present reality, even if your physical senses have yet to catch up. When you assume something is yours, you begin to live from the end. You move, speak, and think like someone who already possesses it. This changes everything, not just your mood, but your energy, your posture, your actions, and ultimately your results. You stop trying to force the outside world to change and instead inhabit the version of yourself that has already received what was once only an idea. Assumption does not mean pretending or wishing. It is not fantasy. It is a felt state of being. It means carrying the consciousness of the fulfilled desire in every moment, regardless of appearances. And here is the secret. When you no longer need it to happen, because in your inner world it already has, the outer world moves rapidly to match that internal truth. You are not waiting for the change, you are the change. This is why chasing never works. It reinforces distance between you and what you want, but assumption collapses that distance. It brings the desire into the now, where all creation happens. When you truly assume something, you don't check to see if it's working. You don't second guess or ask for signs. You don't react to delays because there are no delays in consciousness. You know it's done. You walk in that knowing. You feel the joy of the result now, not later. And because you are no longer vibrating from the place of lack, life has no choice but to conform. This is not arrogance, it's alignment. It is the deep understanding that your inner state commands reality, not the other way around. Life responds to your assumption as surely as an echo responds to sound. The only difference is the timing. And even that becomes quick, almost instant, when there is no resistance in you. So stop running after it. Stop wondering when it will happen. Begin now to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, not through words but through inner embodiment. Sit quietly and enter the scene of your success. Feel the weight of the outcome. Hear the sounds, see the details. Let it become your dwelling place. Then rise and carry that feeling through your day, not with force but with ease. When you assume it's already yours, you no longer need to chase, because the world must reflect the version of you that has already received it. This is the art of effortless manifestation. It is not magic, it is law. Reality does not wait, it responds. And it responds to who you are, not who you're trying to become. The outer world bends to the state you dwell in. Change the inner, the outer follows. Everything you experience on the outside is a reflection of your inner state. It may seem as though circumstances are random, or that people act independently of your influence, but this is the great illusion. The world you call real is a mirror, echoing back to you the dominant thoughts, feelings, and beliefs you hold within. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. And what you are is defined by the state you dwell in consistently. A state is not a fleeting emotion or passing mood. It is a sustained vibration of being. It's the way you feel about yourself, life, and your position in it. You may say you want abundance, but if you dwell in a state of lack, then lack will continue to be your experience. The outer world simply has no choice. It must reflect the inner climate. This is why external change often feels temporary or incomplete. People may try to fix the outside, changing jobs, relationships, or locations. But if the internal state remains the same, the outer conditions will eventually return to match it. The scenery may shift, but the experience does not change until the inner world does. You must rise into a new state of consciousness before you can witness a new world unfold. When you choose to change the inner, you are not working against the world, you are working with the truth of it. You are choosing to reside in a new identity, the version of you who is already loved, already wealthy, already at peace. And once you dwell in that state, persistently and faithfully, life has no choice but to mirror it. The right people appear, opportunities flow, situations rearrange, not because you manipulated them, but because your internal change demanded it. The shift begins in stillness, it begins in imagination. You must enter into the feeling of the state you wish to occupy. Ask yourself, how would I feel if I already had what I desire? And then dwell there. Don't visit that feeling for a few moments only to return to doubt or fear. Live in it. Let it become familiar. Let it guide your reactions, decisions, and thoughts throughout your day. Your assumptions create your world. Your reactions maintain it. If you react to the outer world as if it holds power over you, you will remain stuck in the same patterns. But if you respond from the inner state of fulfillment, regardless of what appears, The outer world will soon conform to your new identity. There is no power outside of you. The only creative power is the consciousness you inhabit. That's where true change begins, not by striving or forcing, but by dwelling mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. In the end, you desire. Change the inner, and the outer must follow. It cannot resist. The world does not bend to effort, it bends to alignment. And alignment comes when you stop looking outside for proof and start living inside the truth. Persistence is not repetition, it is living in the end over and over as if it were now. Many misunderstand persistence. They think it means repeating affirmations endlessly or visualizing day and night until something happens. But true persistence is far deeper, far quieter, and far more powerful. It is the sustained commitment to a state of being, a faithful dwelling in the reality you wish to experience, regardless of what your senses currently report. You are not trying to force something into existence, you are choosing to live from the end, again and again, until that end becomes your identity. It's not about effort, it's about residence. You are not a visitor in the house of your desire, you are the owner. You wake up there, you breathe there, you speak from there. That's persistence. And you persist in a state. You are saying to the universe, this is who I am now. You are not asking or waiting, you are being. And reality, which is always faithful to your state of consciousness, begins to bend, shift, and rearrange itself to accommodate your new inner dwelling. Repetition without feeling is hollow. You can say 1,000 affirmations, but if your inner state remains unchanged, they fall to the ground. But when you live in the end, when you feel the truth of your desire already fulfilled and carry that feeling throughout your day, you are persisting in the only way that matters. Living in the end does not mean ignoring the present. It means you no longer react to it as truth. You may see lack, but you feel abundance. You may experience loneliness, but you dwell in love. You are no longer a slave to appearances, because you know that the outer world is old news. It is the past echo of an inner state you've already left behind. Persistence is continuing to respond from the version of you who already has what you once longed for. When challenges arise, you don't crumble, you remain. You do not let the facts of life dictate your faith. Instead, you let your faith dictate the facts. That's the difference between hoping and knowing. True persistence is effortless when the inner world feels more real than the outer. You no longer need proof because the assumption of the wish fulfilled becomes your truth. And from that truth you move, you speak, you decide, and you create. Every time you return to the feeling of the end, you strengthen your connection to it. And the stronger that connection becomes, the faster your world must reflect it. You are not forcing time, you are collapsing it. You are not fighting reality, you are transforming it from within. So persist, not in struggle, not in ritual, but in identity. Be the one who already has it. Live from the end, not toward it. Feel it as now. Respond as if it's already done. Because in truth, it is already done. And your persistence is simply the act of aligning with that timeless reality until the world around you catches up with who you've already become. Miracles are not supernatural. They are natural responses to inner conviction. What the world calls a miracle is not an exception to the rules of life. It is the fulfillment of the highest law. The law that governs reality is not found in outer force or visible means. It is rooted in consciousness. When your conviction becomes absolute, when your inner knowing outweighs appearances, life has no choice but to yield. What was once improbable becomes inevitable. What others call a miracle, you recognize as alignment. There is nothing magical or accidental about true miracles. They are not rewards for the worthy, nor are they random blessings dropped by chance. They are outcomes of belief. Deep, steady, and unwavering belief. When your inner state is so clear, so convinced, so aligned with the reality you desire, the world bends to match that inner picture. And it does so not slowly, not with hesitation, but with precision. The miracle is not something you wait for, it is something you allow. It is the natural consequence of faith that does not waver in the face of evidence. You do not need to convince others, prove yourself, or seek approval. You need only to be convinced within. Conviction creates, not because it manipulates the outer world, but because it declares something is already true, and the world, which is only a mirror, must reflect that truth. Inner conviction is quiet power. It does not argue, it does not beg, it does not ask if something is possible. It assumes that it is already done. From that assumption, you move differently. You speak with calm assurance. You stop reacting to delays, obstacles, or contradictions because you no longer identify with them. You have already crossed over in your mind. You have already accepted the outcome as real, and that is what creates the so-called miraculous. The laws of this world are not broken by miracles, they are fulfilled by them. Because the highest law is not physical, it is spiritual. It says, as within, so without. As you believe, so shall it be done. When you embody this law through unwavering inner certainty, nothing can stop the manifestation. It must come not as a matter of effort, but as a matter of law. The world will call it luck, coincidence, or divine intervention. But you will know. You will know it came from your inner decision to no longer see yourself as separate from what you desire. You chose to become the one who already has it, and the world responded with grace. That is a miracle. Not unnatural. You are not here to wish and wonder. You are here to remember your power, to feel something so completely real on the inside that nothing on the outside can shake it. And when that inner state becomes your dwelling place, the extraordinary becomes ordinary, the impossible becomes obvious, and life begins to unfold in ways that seem to defy reason, but only because they follow a higher one. Miracles are not rare. They are the natural rhythm of one who lives by inner truth, not outer fact. They follow conviction the way a shadow follows light. Your job is not to force the miracle. Your only task is to believe so completely that the world must rise to meet you. All change begins within. What you see in your world is not happening to you, it is happening through you. The moment you understand that your imagination, your inner conviction, and your assumption of already having your desire are the true forces behind creation, you stop chasing, striving, or doubting. You return to the source within yourself. This power doesn't ask you to beg. It asks you to believe. It doesn't require effort. It requires alignment. When you live in the end, when you feel it real and persist in that feeling, reality must respond. And it does so quickly, quietly, and often in ways that appear miraculous. But these are not miracles. They are the natural outcome of inner certainty. So choose now. Dwell in the state of the wish fulfilled. Walk in faith, not fear. Assume it is done, and it will be. The outer world bends to the inner world. It has no choice. That is the law. And when you align with it, life begins to move so swiftly, so flawlessly, it truly feels like magic. But it is simply you, remembering who you really are. Sincere thanks to the listener. Thank you for tuning in. May these words awaken the power already within you, and may you walk boldly in the knowing that it is already yours. Trust yourself, believe deeply, and watch your world transform. There comes a time when you must stop running toward your dream and realize it's already here, waiting. Not to be achieved, but claimed. You've been taught that success demands action, that manifestation requires grinding, proving, pushing. But the truth is, the more you act without alignment, the more you delay what's already yours. Creation is finished. Everything you want, everything you could ever dream of, exists now. Not in the future, not after years of struggle, now. And the only thing standing between you and it is the state you're in. Don't act, don't force, just tune in. Because the version of you who already has the life, the love, the health, the wealth, that version isn't chasing. That version is dwelling. That version knows. So the question is not what should I do? The real question is what must I feel to be it? Sit with that. You've been busy trying to make things happen, while your true power, the power that shapes mountains and moves time, lies in your imagination. Not the imagination that daydreams, but the imagination that believes. Imagination that accepts as fact what the outer world denies. This is not about pretending. It is about selecting. You do not become successful by forcing life. You become successful by assuming the version of you who already is. Stop proving. Stop chasing. Breathe. Go within. Feel the reality of what you desire as if it were already true. Because it is, it's waiting for you to recognize it, to accept it, to dwell in it, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. That's how you win. You don't act, you don't force. You tune in, and life responds. Your imagination is the key. Your state is the gate. And the moment you enter it, you've already won. There is a profound truth hidden in plain sight, a secret so simple that most overlook it while endlessly striving. It is this: all creation is finished. Every possibility, every outcome, every version of your life already exists in a higher dimension of being. You are not here to create from scratch. You are not here to struggle your way into manifestation. You are here to select, to choose from the infinite realities that have already been spoken into existence. This world you see is not the cause but the result. It is the echo of your inner state, not the source. You do not create wealth, love, health, or peace by force. You align with them. You step into the consciousness where they already are. Like a radio tuning into frequencies, you align with the version of yourself that already experiences what you desire, and the world reshapes to match your internal broadcast. You see, when you believe you must make things happen, you fall into a trap of separation. You imagine your desire as distant, something out there that must be chased. But in truth, the moment you need something, you affirm you do not have it. And what you assume, you manifest. There is nothing to chase because it already is. There is nothing to force because it already exists. The moment you imagine it and believe it, you claim it. That belief, that inner acceptance, is your act of selection. It is the spiritual handshake between you and the reality you desire. No pleading, no striving, just choosing. You live in a multiverse of possibilities. Countless timelines exist side by side, each playing out a different version of your story. In one, you're struggling. In another, you're thriving. In one, you're waiting. In another, you've already received. Nothing needs to be created anew. You simply shift into the version of you that matches what you seek, and life responds accordingly. The outer world is nothing more than the mirror of your inner state. That's why action alone, without belief, often leads to exhaustion. It is like trying to change your reflection in the mirror by wiping the glass, when what truly needs changing is the image you hold within. So how do you select? You do so through feeling, through imagination, through the quiet inner knowing that says it is done. You assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. You walk, breathe, think, and feel from the end. You act not to get, but because you already are. You don't hope you know. You don't beg, you embody. When you do this, when you live in the state of already having, you align yourself with the timeline in which your desire is real. Reality will bend itself to reflect that inner truth. People, opportunities, coincidences, all will begin to shift to match your assumption. Creation is not linear, it is eternal. It is already done. Your work is not to build from the ground up, but to awaken to what is already yours. You do not need to fight for it. You need only remember that you are the chooser. And when you truly remember that, you will stop acting from fear, stop forcing outcomes, and simply select with clarity and trust. Because the life you want is not ahead of you, it's already waiting within you. Imagination is not a fleeting daydream or a child's escape from reality. It is the creative force of your entire existence. It is the only door through which the unseen becomes seen. The inner becomes outer and the possible becomes real. Everything you call reality began first as an unseen image, an idea, a quiet belief. Before it became form, it existed in consciousness. That is the law of life. Your outer world is nothing more than the reflection of your inner assumption. You do not change your life by doing more. You change your life by imagining better. What you imagine with feeling, conviction, and repetition becomes the blueprint for what you later experience. The world merely echoes back your dominant state of being. And that state is not shaped by effort, by hard work, or by hustle. It is shaped by the quiet, invisible thoughts and images you dwell upon when no one is watching. When you imagine a thing clearly and consistently, you are not simply fantasizing. You are constructing the pattern that the outer world must conform to. This is not metaphor. This is law. What you assume to be true of yourself and your life, even without seeing a shred of evidence, will harden into fact if you persist in that inner vision. Most people try to change the outer world directly. They try to force results through action, control circumstances, or chase outcomes. But this is like trying to change your reflection in a mirror by reaching out to touch the glass. The reflection can only change when you do, when your inner picture shifts. Imagination, therefore, is not optional. It is essential. It is the only door. And yet, it must be used with precision and intention. Random daydreaming won't do. You must become deliberate, choosing the images you entertain, the feelings you inhabit, the assumptions you carry. You must see yourself already having, already being, already experiencing that which you desire, not in some distant future, but now, here, in the present tense of your mind. To imagine better is not just to dream of better things, but to occupy better states. Imagine yourself as wealthy, not wanting wealth. Imagine yourself as loved, not longing for love. The difference is subtle, but everything hinges on it. Desire says, I want. Imagination, in its true power, says, I am. This practice must be consistent. A moment of clarity followed by a day of doubt will keep you spinning in circles. But when you return again and again to the state of the wish fulfilled, when you train your inner eye to see only what you choose to manifest, you begin to move through that door of imagination with certainty and ease. You do not need to convince the world, you only need to convince yourself. The outer will follow. It must. That is its design. to conform to your inner self concept. So, step back from the noise. Stop measuring your progress by appearances. Close your eyes, enter the stillness, and imagine boldly. The world you seek does not lie outside you. It waits behind the door of imagination. And you hold the key. Effort, when born out of desperation or striving, is the silent confession that you believe you are separate from what you desire. It is the subtle message to your own subconscious that says, I don't have it yet. And because your world reflects your inner assumptions, it continues to echo back that very lack. Trying too hard often pushes the very thing you want further away. The moment you begin chasing, you place your desire outside of yourself. You declare it to be somewhere in the distance, and therefore not here, not now. This mental separation is what kills alignment. You cannot be in harmony with something you believe you are still seeking. True power comes from being, not striving. It comes from stepping into the version of you who already has, already is, already lives in the end. You don't become successful by chasing success. You become successful by aligning with the identity of one who already knows success is normal. You don't attract love by begging for it. You become love, and love meets you where you are. There is a massive difference between aligned action and effort born out of fear or lack. Aligned action flows. It feels natural. It arises from the stillness within, not the panic without. It is not about proving anything. It is about expressing who you already are in your imagination. In contrast, forced effort feels heavy, anxious, restless. It is rooted in a belief that if you don't do, nothing will happen, and that belief is exactly what gets mirrored back to you. When you are truly aligned, there is no tension in the doing. You are not trying to make it happen. You are letting it unfold through you. You are not forcing the outcome. You are living from the outcome. You are embodying the frequency of the version of you who has already received, and the outer world has no choice but to comply with that vibration. You cannot fool the law of assumption. You cannot pretend to be aligned while internally you are bracing, striving, fearing, doubting. The universe does not respond to your words. It responds to your state. And your state is always revealed by the quality of your effort. Are you pushing out of fear, or are you moving from knowing? To be in alignment means to relax into certainty. It means to allow. It means to be still long enough to hear the whisper of the state you've chosen, and then to move only when moved. Not by panic, not by pressure, but by the inner pull of faith. You don't need to chase the sun. You simply rise with it. The version of you who already has what you want does not act from lack. They act from completion. Your job is not to reach forward, but to shift inward. The truth is, your desires are already yours in a dimension you cannot yet touch with your hands, but can already feel in your heart. So stop trying. Stop forcing. Let go of the need to make it happen, and instead become the one for whom it has already happened. When you align with that identity, reality has no choice but to rearrange itself to match. Silence is not emptiness. It is not absence. It is not void. It is presence in its purest form. It is the ground where creation begins, not with noise, not with frantic action, but with stillness. In silence, you are no longer distracted by the outer world. In silence, you become aware of your inner world, and that inner world is where everything is born. When the mind is still, it becomes a tuning fork for miracles. In that sacred quiet, you begin to feel, not think. You begin to know, not question. You begin to align, not strive. Silence is the space where your assumptions are planted, where your desires are accepted, and where your reality begins to mold. You do not need to shout your desires into the world. You do not need to affirm loudly, repetitively, or desperately. Creation responds not to volume, but to vibration. And vibration is clearest, strongest, most accurate in stillness. When you quiet the mental noise, the doubts, the fears, the constant analyzing, you make room for truth. You make room for the feeling of the wish fulfilled. It is not in chaos that seeds grow. It is in silence, in darkness beneath the surface. So it is with your desires. They are planted in the stillness of your imagination. You water them with belief, and you nurture them through dwelling in that silent space where you already have what you want. No effort, no force, just knowing. The world teaches you to be loud, to chase, to announce. But the real transformation always happens in silence, when no one is looking, when the outer world is still asleep. It is in those moments alone with your own being that you tune yourself to the frequency of your desire. And when you are tuned, life responds effortlessly. Stillness is not laziness, it is alignment. It is choosing to pause long enough to remember who you really are, a being of infinite creative power, a vessel through which unseen things become seen, not by shouting, but by knowing, not by struggling, but by feeling it done. Sit quietly, turn inward, let the outer world fade away. Do not beg, do not plead, simply assume the state you desire and dwell in it, not with tension, but with trust. That inner stillness is your true creative space. It is the sacred place where all things begin to form. When the mind is quiet, the heart speaks, and the heart knows the language of fulfillment. It knows what it feels like to be loved, to be wealthy, to be whole. It does not wait for the world to prove it. It feels it first, and in that feeling, the vibration is set. The pattern is formed. The outcome is guaranteed. You don't create by noise. You create by stillness, the power that moves the stars, the breath behind your breath, the intelligence that holds galaxies together. It speaks in silence. It moves through stillness. So let the world be loud, you be still, because in that sacred silence, you are creating everything. You've been taught to seek, taught to chase, taught to search high and low for meaning, purpose, success, love, and peace. But the truth is, you are not the seeker, you are the source. Everything you've ever desired, everything you've spent your life reaching for, has always been within you, not in the future, not in someone else, not in a goal, a title, or a place, but here, now, within your own consciousness. You were never meant to search the world to find yourself. You were meant to remember. You were meant to return to the awareness that what you are seeking, you already are. The world outside may reflect it. It may echo it, but it cannot give you what you do not first claim from within. The moment you tune in, you begin to remember, not with your mind, but with your being. You remember the peace that doesn't depend on circumstances. You remember the power that isn't earned, but inherited. You remember the love that doesn't come from someone else's validation, but flows endlessly from your own presence. You see, the constant seeking implies lack. It implies separation. It is a statement to yourself that you are not enough yet, not ready yet, not whole yet. And so you continue the cycle, always reaching, always striving, never arriving. But the truth is, the only place you need to arrive at is within. The source of creation, of abundance, of healing, of transformation is not out there. It's not in a method, a person, or even a spiritual practice. Those things may help point you inward, but the power itself is already alive in you. It has been since the beginning. You are not incomplete. You are not missing anything. The divine spark, the creative force, the infinite wisdom, all of it is quietly present within you. Like a radio that only needs to be tuned to the right frequency, you have the ability to align with everything you desire simply by becoming still and remembering who you are. The shift happens the moment you stop asking, "Where is it?" and begin declaring, "It is within me." The moment you stop seeking signs and start becoming the sign. The moment you stop hoping and start being. That is the moment you reclaim your power. Stop looking to others for permission. Stop asking the world to show you your worth. You are not a beggar. You are not a wanderer. You are the creator, the source, the well from which your own life flows. When you begin to live from this place, everything changes. You stop chasing outcomes and start embodying them. You stop fearing the unknown and start trusting your inner knowing. You stop needing proof and start being the proof. The search ends when you turn inward. The truth reveals itself not in noise, but in silence. Not in movement, but in stillness. You remember by becoming still enough to feel the power that's always been there. You are not the seeker, you are the source. And once you know that, you will never need to search again. Tuning in is not about visualizing something far away. It is not about closing your eyes and imagining a distant dream. It is about entering the experience now as if it were already true. It is about feeling the reality of your desire so deeply, so naturally, that your body responds, your breath shifts, and your world begins to rearrange itself in response. This is not wishful thinking, this is creation. You create through feeling, and not just any feeling, but the specific, embodied feeling of the wish fulfilled. That is the secret. Not seeing it in the future, but dwelling in it now. To feel it real is to claim it with such certainty that you no longer look for evidence. You are the evidence. You stop asking when will it come, because internally you already know it's done. The world does not respond to what you want. It responds to who you are being. And who you are being is shaped by what you consistently feel to be true. That's why tuning in is the real work. You don't have to force results. You don't have to beg, plead, or manipulate life. You simply align, not by doing more, but by feeling more accurately. When you dwell in the feeling, you shift your identity. You are no longer someone hoping for change. You are someone who already lives it. And from that place, your choices change. Your energy changes. Your actions become effortless because they are no longer trying to get to a destination. They are flowing from it. You don't need the world to confirm what you already feel within. You only need to stay there, in that inner reality, long enough for it to externalize. The delay between inner knowing and outer manifestation is only ever bridged by your persistence in the feeling. Can you remain faithful to it even when nothing outside supports it yet? That's the test. That's the key. It takes no more energy to imagine lack than it does to imagine fulfillment. But the difference in outcome is profound. One leads to more struggle, the other leads to effortless receiving. The universe speaks the language of vibration, and vibration is determined by feeling. So feel it real, not as an escape, not as a game, but as your true reality. Because it is. And every time you tune in to the feeling of already having, you shift timelines, you bypass resistance, you step into a version of life where the thing you desire is not a hope, it's a memory. And the world begins to shape itself around that memory. You don't win by chasing, you win by dwelling. Dwelling in the invisible until it becomes visible. Dwelling in the unseen until it becomes seen. This is not fantasy. This is alignment. So close your eyes. Go inward. Feel it. Not as something you want, but as something that is already yours. Feel it until it feels normal, until it feels natural, until it feels done. Because once it feels done within, it must show up without. That's the law. That's how you win, not through effort, but through embodied knowing. So now you understand. You were never meant to chase, to beg, or to prove your worth to the world. You were meant to remember, to return to the stillness where all things begin. You were never lacking. You were never waiting. Everything you've ever desired already exists, not somewhere out there, but within you. And your only task is to tune in. You win by aligning, not by forcing. You rise by assuming, not by striving. You shift your world not by effort, but by embodying the truth that it is already yours. Stop acting, stop forcing, just be. Imagine boldly, feel deeply, dwell in the end. Because when you tune in with clarity, with trust, and with faith, life has no choice but to mirror that knowing. You are not separate from what you seek, you are the source. And once you realize that, you will never again move from fear, only from power. Thank you statement, say the thanks. Thank you for remembering your heart. Thank you for choosing stillness over striving, alignment over effort, and truth over illusion. Now go forth, not to act, not to force, but to tune in and win.